Good evening and welcome to the Poets Cafe, where the art of conversation comes alive. Highlighting a new era of Poet Cafe, where artists' voice comes alive. As we welcome everyone into the course of the threshold of a new beginning, we will honor the voices and faces on our second anniversary. Today's story will mark a new chapter on the billboard for artists, writers, singers, poets, painters, and crafters, many with gifted talent, sharing stories of yesterday, today, and stories untold, poetically speaking. Welcome to the Poets Cafe with Ron C. McCray and Terry Benjamin. We will continue our journey into a new romance novel of relationship with music as the lip, of the soul and rhythm, moving the body from side to side, leaving only memories for our audience as we move forward into today's show. So, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Now, let's get started.
Yes, let's get started. This is, of course, Poetically Speaking with yours truly, Terry Benjamin, and my brother here, Ronald C. McCray. Our engineer for this evening is Brother Jeff. But you know, Ron, the thing I got to do, most important thing is that I have to acknowledge our people out there. And so I want to see who's in the VIP lounge tonight. And I got quite a few people, so I want to make sure everybody is comfortable there. So in the VIP lounge tonight, we have Sylvia Carter, Evan Beyond Fitness, Raymond DeVoe, Arthur Boone Sr., Linton Robinson, Amira Shabazz, Ma Campbell, Larethia Foster Brown, Mary McDonald Swindell, Yvonne Tomlinson, Isu Canty, Connie Red, Alden Brown, Jay Lyon, Tara Branch, Pat Hughes, Kentu Masaba, Ruby Shivers, Quade Pie Lady Palmer, Joanne Blount, Kenya Cagle, Clinton Miller Jr., Geraldine Callens Thomas, O'Hara Gio Petaway, Deborah Hunter, Harry Mars, Elliot Hale, Kim Outlaw, Stephen Rouse, Jesty Campbell, Deborah Dozer, Lynn Spencer, Dolores Gonzalez, Deborah Lipscomb, Special Pearl Swanson, Aldine Brown, Bola, Monica Chase Adams, Marquette Johnson, Sankofa Sojourns, Alan Mackey, Benjamin Thomas, Charles Jones, Evelyn Salazar, Willie Thomas, Dina Robinson, Kevin Williams, Sherry Griffin, Pamela McAfee Towns. So we got these people settled in the VIT lounge, and we welcome you. Get comfortable. We're going to have a great show tonight. Today's agenda is something old, something new. When we look back on 2025, that's old. Looking at 2026, something new. But sometimes you got to build on the old to make way for the new. So we want to talk about that a little bit more in the program. Quote of the day is from one of my favorite poets, the late Gil Scott-Heron. And it says here, "You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised." And of course, that's from the poem. That's from the dance hit by Gil Scott-Heron called "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," which actually was produced in 1971, but again, it's even more, I think, relevant today because we know so many things are going on, but we want to keep up with it, and we want to let you know what's going on. And so, as always, we begin our program with Ron's poetry. What you got for us today, Ron?
A couple of things. I'd like to start out with this one. And, as always, everything that we do and say and present here is not a negative, but it all depends on how one sees it and believes in it. Because again, if you believe in this negative, then you killed your opportunity to see the other side of what we present, which is poetically speaking.
That's right.
Your dreams coming true. You killed them already. So again, as it may appear to be negative, take that and look at it as a positive and build on it. But let me read this one first.
Yes.
This one is titled Authenticity. The origin of something created, one of a kind, raw and untainted, blemish-free and untouched, filled with wisdom, crowned with knowledge, soft yet firm, not withholding the past of yesterday into the hands of artificial robbers, robbing another with an unarmed product. Flawless, offer a beacon of hope, where doubt leaves without an apology. Being real is the reward of truth. A word taken out of context leaves the mind twisted and confused. The midday candlelight burns with inner power, forming a new day of hope. Authenticity, one of a kind, means using your voice to identify who you genuinely are, how you carry yourself, how you live your life to its fullest, and how you stay true to the world you live in. Being authentic means no apology for being honest with the outside world, living with reality from its inception, showing a face while standing on truth. Authenticity is the creation of something real, pure and unadulterated, a masterpiece, regardless of the age, shape, form, image, color, or the material from which it's made. What counts is whether it is real or authentic. The original craft. Life is authentic, a masterpiece from the Creator. The material cannot be duplicated, and no replication is allowed. Each piece comes with a sealed DNA tag with a barcode made from the highest quality. Authenticity is the name of the voices hidden in the shadows of time and the faces behind the shadow of darkness. Authenticity is nature's own identity, organic, raw, and unmatched. Authenticity is your name, your smile, your brand without any alteration. Just sheer, unblemished, unrefined, not processed. The original birth certificate, seal, stamp, guaranteed authenticity. Lose it, and it's lost forever. It cannot be reclaimed or wiped out by the hands that created you before production. You went through quality control before being released to the earth, where you were sealed, where you were seeded, planted, cultivated, and bloomed into the beauty of life. Are you authentic? Are you real?
That's beautiful. Dina Robinson says, good evening, Terry and Ron. Good evening, Dina Robinson, and Happy New Year to you as well. Yeah, Ron, I really enjoyed that poem because, again, it's really important to be authentic, to be yourself.
And that's what we're trying to present, and we ask you to do the same. Here's one, you capture the moment of something, and during the last few days or last whatever, as we know, we seen snow, we had the feeling of the ice, the coldness, and the stillness of the air. But how many sat back, looked at that, felt the temperature drop, and wrote something about that? Did you write your book, your novel, or the fiction of something, the horror story, how cold it is? But yes, still, I guarantee you, each and every person got out to go do what they wanted to do, but you didn't write your book.
That's right.
So let me read this one. Footsteps. Footsteps, the moment of birth, life, DNA of time, travel from the forensic study of each travel from the moment of birth. Life holds the secret in each step, a forensic study of each, printed embedded in the soft white cap, revealing its primary source of background. Ethnicity, race, creed, or origin. Footsteps, who are they? Where do they come from? Which way are they traveling? The story within each footstep has no name, no on the headstone, no place or origin, and no pattern of the crosswalk they moving in. How deep does the pressure of pain, joy, stress, confusion, or even the emotional burden each one carries on? What are the age's height, weight of the footsteps? Footsteps on the soft surface speaks like the silent howling winds blowing across the frigid air. The depths of their purpose can never be told once they fade into the wilderness of each season. While life turns the pages as another chapter describes the soul that the heart has crossed over into another realm, time framed in the memories of the season. A waking spirit welcomes the legacy of the chilling conversation as the words began to freeze in the moment of stillness, and the bones rattle with the chattering of teeth, clenching, igniting friction to warm the gums. The sun shines over the shadow of sparkling while soft snow peeping through the branches while the limbs of the trees yearn, undisturbed from their resting state of hibernation. The cold brisk sounds of further as each flows over the pebbles, soothing this undercurrent, leaving no regrets. But the roughness of the past has succumbed to a resting spot without complaining. But praise that higher power of the universe that holds all microscopic, listening with its tuned ear, and no noise to be heard. We all have footsteps with or without legs or limbs. There are footprints of the heart and soul. What's yours? And where did you leave your mark along the path from where you came to where you are headed? Now, yes, it sounds like I was fumbling here and there, but that's not the point. The point is, when I wrote it, I looked at the footsteps that was on the pathway in the white snow, traveling here, big, small, whatever. You don't have a clue, but each footstep had a DNA of a story that is told, because you don't know what that person was experiencing or going through, what they was feeling, but they was out in the park traveling someplace, trying to get rid of, trying to figure out something, trying to go someplace. But the bottom line is, just like we speak to you, we listen to you, your footsteps. I may put your shoes on, but I cannot tell you what the story of what you're feeling emotionally, and that's what's important. So again, when you look at the surface, whether it's during the snow or rainy day, in the mud, in your yard, even your own, even the footsteps tells a story. What's in the name?
Yes, that's a beautiful thought. As we go through the program, we have a lot of people talking about writing a book, and it's just talk. And today we have someone who has written many books, and she's here to talk about her latest book. And who might that be?
Well, our queen, our sister, the honorable, the matriarch of her time, her platform. We are here to showcase this sister as we welcome her to you. And we ask that you sit back, listen, and feel the warmth, the welcome, and the glorious manner of the tone as she presents to you who she is. I'm just going to give a short introduction, but you're going to hear from the original, the one and only, our sister, Ruby Shiver. So let me give you a little bit of this. About the author, Ruby Williams Shiver, a proud native of Lake Butler, Florida, and longtime resident of New Jersey, carries a rich and rooted heritage. Through her maternal line, she shares genetic ancestries with the Massa people of Cameroon, and through her paternal line with the Fulani people, and if I pronounce that right, she would definitely correct me,
That's correct.
of Nigeria, a lineage of strength, wisdom, and resilience. She is the author of 5 powerful published works: Verbal Healing, Victims of Confusions, The Quarters, Emotion to Live With, and Why Shouldn't I Cry? Ode to the Black Man, and now proudly presents her first children's book, What's in a Name? A lifelong learner and scholar, Ruby graduated from Seton Hall University, continued her studies at Montclair State University, and pursued graduate work at Rutgers University. Her writings reflect a deep love for culture, history, personal truth, and the healing of power. The healing of power of. At this time, we present to you our sister, Ruby Shivers.
Yes, yes, yes. And it's so funny because, you've written many books, and they've all been well received and definitely well appreciated. But this is your first children's book. And I guess my first question is, why did it take you so long to do this particular book?
Well, that's a good question. I probably hadn't thought about it too seriously myself. But first, I want to thank you guys. I call my kings. Yes. For having me here this evening. And Ron, I tell you, you just surprise me every time. Well, you should, because I know your work and I know what you do. And I know your poems always impress me. And you just speak you express reality so succinctly and still poetically.
Yes.
So I'm just pleased to be here, really. What took me so long? Well, I tell you, it is sort of in a 20-year kind of span of thing that the idea of this book came about. Okay. I have to give my little nephew, who's like 26 now, but he must have been 6 or 7. Wow. At the time that he came, he and his sister had come up to visit from Virginia, and they came with their godmother, took them to a restaurant to have some whatever eats. And so she asked them how were they doing, how was he doing in school, because he was the only one in school at the time. The little sister had not gone yet. He said, well, I'm doing good. She said, no, you're not. She said, your teacher said you were whatever he was doing.
You tell the
he
truth.
said, must you tell everything?
Yeah.
So that's where that whole idea, when it said it was just so comical, but at the same time, it sent the message, must you tell everything? To the extent that when his little sister finally was old enough to go to school, and the book has it, not that. Now this is where the fiction comes in.
Right.
Nonfiction became. The teacher asked her name, and she said her name was Must. And she thought it was Must because he constantly said, must you tell everything, because she was just so tattle. She was a tattler. So it said, must you tell everything. So the idea behind the book, though, then when I thought about it in seriousness, I said, well, our young people particularly, and we older folks, use words sometimes that we think, maybe just speaking.
Yeah, it is harmless.
But and then we've often heard that sticks and stones will hurt your bones. Well, sticks and stones will hurt your bones.
That's right.
But words will sometimes send you to the gallows.
That's right.
And that's what had happened with us over time. The words that we used that our slaveholders used against us, sent us all to be hanged, or to be raped, or to be whatever. So it was more than just the word. It was what that word had effect. So that's how that book came about.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's an old saying that goes like this: "It's not what you call me, but it's what I answer to."
Exactly.
And a lot of times we are called out of our names at many different times.
Right.
But one of the things that I love about your book is the fact that it is, of course, it's a book. Of course, it is fiction, but there's some real names in here.
Oh, definitely. That's what I'm excited
so my
about.
question to you, how did Chastity feel when she saw her name in this book?
Oh, they were always excited, but particularly she is she's a very keen little girl even at her young age now.
Yes.
So she was very thrilled about it, but then we had to go into a conversation about why that was done and why was she the protagonist of that.
Yeah, right.
So they all were, and I have to say that although she's the protagonist, We got about 9, I think, of the
yes,
9 kids
yes,
represented in that book.
yes.
And they put some of them my grandchildren, great-grandchildren,
Oh,
actually.
it's beautiful. It's
And
beautiful.
then there are my nieces and nephews. That came from, though, that group that's in that book come from a school that we established some couple of years ago. I give credit to my ancestor, sister,
Yes,
who
yes.
passed last year. But she was very much responsible for the children. She had done homeschooling for a while, over time. But then, I don't know if you recall, when this crazy, silly governor of Florida, Governor Sanchez, made a statement about bringing us over here. They brought us over here to teach us something.
Teach us some skills.
I said, my word. Now, and then after that, you begin to hear where they was taking books out of the libraries and, and everywhere, out of the schools. I said, no. What we need to do as African people, particularly, or anybody really, but particularly African people, since our history has been so, maligned, we need to start a sort of a homeschooling. So that's what my sister Lula did, along with me and some of the other ones from the podcast.
And that's still continuing, as we speak, right?
So we started that homeschooling, and so those children in the book represent that particular homeschooling.
Yeah. And again, like I said, as I just sort of flipped through the book, I love what you say here about the dedication.
Yes.
You said this book is lovingly dedicated to my grandchildren, my nieces and nephews, my cousins, and all the young people of our village. May these pages remind you that the names you hear and the names you answer to carry power. They can settle into your spirit and shape how you see yourself. So speak life, speak truth, speak love. Choose words that build, nurture, and uplift. Using the N word is harmful and will never reflect the royalty within you. I want to give a special thank you to my nephew, AJ, whose innocent childhood question, must you tell everything? Plant a seed of thought that blossomed into this message. A reminder that everything spoken leaves an imprint and every name has meaning. This book is an offering, a gift of legacy, and a light for generations to come. And I really, when I read that, it really touched me, because what this is legacy right here.
Oh yeah.
This is not just a book, and that's why I know in the summer when we were talking about it, talking about the book and how the ideas you have for it, which we're brainstorming and looking at different ideas how to present this. But one of the things, Queen Ruby, that I want to commend you is the fact that you stuck with it. You stuck with it until the end. And ladies and gentlemen, and here it is. She stuck with it until it was done. A lot of us, we started like at a ball of fire, and then we just slow down. We slow down.
It was a little slowing down along the
yeah,
way,
no,
but
you came back. Though.
it.
You came back. But some of us slowed down to the point we just stopped.
Right.
And I'm just saying to our VIPs and all those who are watching, please don't take your idea and bring it to the fullest, and also understand that you can't do it by yourself.
Right.
I think one of the problems that you had, Queen, was like you were going back and forth with different people who couldn't really do as what they said they could do and that kind of thing. But you didn't get discouraged. And if you did get discouraged, you didn't stop.
Yeah.
So I commend you for that.
Our ancestor, the great Joe Madison, always say, when things are upon you or things you need to take, what you're going to do about it. The question should always be, what you're going to do about it. And if we as African people didn't know before, we certainly over the 2025 has been a year of all years. I mean, I've been around for a minute, and I've never seen anything like what happened in 2025. So it's a one for the record. And what people are asking us elders to record, to start writing.
Yes.
Leave something for those that are coming behind us to know what we've gone through, know what the history was, what the situation was. Because see, unlike other folk, what we went through is not just history. It's ongoing.
Yes.
You talk about different things in the world, World War One or World War Two. That's history. Holocaust, history.
That's right. That's right.
People got over it, moving forward. We have not gotten over the 200 years that, I call it human trafficking. Bottom line, that's what it really was. It brought us over here to traffic us. And then once they brought us over here, they just done all kinds of crazy things to us that made it so uniquely different, our situation. So whenever I can put anything to paper, to print to paper, I try to do that. Try to leave something that those that will come behind us will know that we were doing something. Because sometimes you hear young folks now say, well, I wonder if I had been back there, I wouldn't have taken this, that. They don't know what they would do.
Easy to say.
That's easier said than done, but things were being done.
Yes.
So when you look at the Harriet Tubmans of the world, when you look at the Nat Turner of the world, they did stuff. It's just that because we don't have access to our history like we should, our young people, that have been left out. They don't want to hear it, but they need to hear about all the things that have happened and that we have been responsible for. Had it not been for our involvement, I look at the situation that's going on now with what's happening. And many of our people are kind of sitting back and saying it's not that they don't understand and recognize the seriousness of what's going on. It's just that we've been there, done that. And we know what the plan is for us now. See, you got a person in the White House, he's just waiting for us. I mean, he killed that white woman yesterday. They did that. But he's just waiting for an onslaught. So if we go out there protesting at this time, we just got to know we'll get another method and tactic. Because if we went out, that's why I don't advise my people at this stage of the game to go out and expose themselves like that. Let the other folks who didn't have to do that before. We can get in the middle of them, behind them, or whatever. But don't be out front there. He'll send everything in on us that he can send.
Oh, you know that, because it's funny because I know I was watching some of your programs, and one program you were talking about white woman. What about your men? And ironically and sadly is that it was a white woman who was actually killed by ICE. And again, it's a situation where it was bound to happen. There was no way that it couldn't happen. But I agree with you. Now, see, if we go out there protesting and whatnot, see, we'll be even more of a target. If they can kill a white woman, age 37, imagine what they would do with us.
We can imagine.
So it's time for us to, like you said, let us step back and see what they're going to do.
And let them do that their way. Because the one thing now, I would think, and I've been hearing it a lot now, we got to get together as a group of people and decide what is in our best interest. What we can do without any demonstration or demonstration, but see our money. We spend, what was that? I quoted something last week on my show. It was billions of dollars, 1.some billion.
It's close to. It's $1.2 trillion.
Oh, trillion!
With the T.
Trillion, wow.
So if we held back a fourth of that, we could make such a statement.
Yes.
So that could be militia.
That's right.
Holding back our money. And I think that is going to happen because I'm hearing it more often than not now, how we need to kind of get together on something that will propel us or take us out of what the situation we're in. But we are in some serious situation.
Well, we are, but again, I had mentioned the day's agenda is something old and something new. And we have a segment in our program called Mind, Body, and Books. And what I like to do is I like to present something old and something new. Now, what happens every year, Cassandra Charles, author and editor, she puts together an anthology called the 2025 Anthology Almanac Series. Now, this was the 2025 Almanac. And what she got 12 authors together. Each of them write a story concerning the month, the January, February, all the way to December. And so you have 12 stories. Then you have a poet who writes a poem about each month. Now, this was in 2025, so this is something old. But now here, this is 2026, and this is the new anthology.
Okay.
Okay, so she's managed to continue with that. But the lesson that I get from this Queen Ruby is the fact that if we get together as authors, let's say you get 12 people together, let's say you're chipping a certain amount of money, we can publish our own books. We don't have to go to anybody else to do this.
Right.
And so again, I think in terms of what you were saying, we need to come together and take care of ourselves.
Yeah,
and
I
not
think
wait
we're doing
and
that.
not even think about this government taking care of us. We have to have our own economy. So we have so many talents in so many different areas, like my brother was talking about before we came on the air, that, you know, I have this and you have that. Let's put that together and let's find a way to, you know, in Kwanzaa they call it cooperative economics, where we own the product. We own this product and we can sell this product.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because we put our talents together, we put our money together to do something that a lot of times people wait for other people to do. And that's another reason that I love the book. I love what you're doing, because you got together with people who wanted to make this happen. And a lot of times, again, people understand with writing is two parts. The one part is like the manuscript, which is just the pages. The second part is the actual publishing of the book. Because again, this could have been just pages on a table, but she put it together, she formatted it, they got a nice cover and that kind of thing. And so I'm saying we need to do more of that.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for someone to discover us or to put us on. I think all the time we got to put on ourselves.
Yeah. Just one point I want to make of that. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. At least people misunderstand where we're coming from.
Yeah.
We are owed everything. We have never gotten our reparations
That's
like
right.
other people.
You're right.
So outside of the fact that we still, one of our main thrusts these days should be the demand of our reparation.
Okay.
Had we demanded, not had we, because it sounds like we're blaming.
yeah.
No, we did
saying,
ask for reparation, but they ignored us, unlike they didn't ignore other folks. So if we gotten our reparation, we would never have needed affirmative action, would never have needed DEI, would never have needed any of that, because our reparation should have been the most huge part of reparation in the world.
Yeah.
Seeing how we worked 200 years for absolutely nothing, and the other 200, through schemes and all that other kind of stuff, still of our free labor.
Yeah.
So we are definitely deserving of money that's not we're not asking them for anything. Our money. If they are, Martin Luther King said, go to the bank, and the check was not what it was void.
Yeah.
But if they would turn our monies loose, what they know that we need, we wouldn't need any kind of handout, because it's not a handout. Though the money that's this country is reaping the benefit of came from us.
Yeah.
Came from the 200 plus years of free labor.
Yeah, because I know that you've interfaced with some people who have talked about reparations, but have you or anyone that you've spoken to, how would that look? Would it be monies? Would it be services?
Well, they wouldn't be asking my opinion, but if you would,
if they did,
hey, listen, I am that unapologetic amateur looking for the experts to bring that stuff in. But just so I can give them a few opinion of mine, I would suggest goods and services.
Okay.
I would not recommend money up front.
Okay.
Not that we would allow anyone else to take charge of our money. I would suggest that once we got together, formed a group that we can depend on. The government has people working their stuff. I could be a government of our people who we depend on. Once they got the money, wherever that money is, put it aside, because we don't have, as we speak, anywhere to go and spend our money with, except the folks that took the money from us.
That's
so
right,
that was,
so it's like going in a circle.
Exactly, going in circles. So what we need, though, goods and service, we should be allowed right off the bat to be given free health care,
Okay.
free schooling,
Mm-hmm.
free housing,
Mm-hmm.
free foods,
Mm-hmm.
same as they got when they back in the days when right after World War One. I think that's when these what you call the houses that they built suburbs.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when all those suburbs and things were built up,
Uh-huh.
giving them access to stuff that they didn't have, because of the wars and
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
that took.
Yeah,
Well, that's what we should have.
Mm-hmm.
We should be given free education,
Mm-hmm.
free health,
Yeah, yeah.
free all kinds of free benefit,
Mm-hmm.
and our money was set aside until we can develop what we did with the Black Wall Street.
Right, right.
We have done it now. We have had our communities.
Mhm,
We have
mhm,
had
mhm,
our
mhm.
businesses. We've had those things
Mhm.
that would that we can really be proud of.
Yeah.
They took those away, by hook and crook.
Yeah.
Some burned down, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, a
But
lot
if
of them,
we-
they just destroyed.
Destroyed, yeah.
Because they didn't want this happening. Ron, I
Exactly.
want you to get into the conversation, because I know you have some things you got to.
You know,
Yeah.
and you're right on point. And because I always say this, and I say this straight up.
Mhm.
Today is nothing but excuses.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every time I hear, even go back with Santos, whatever, from Florida, talking about taking your education out the school book,
Mm-hmm.
I say this, and I said on the podcast, that's your book.
Mm-hmm.
That's your school.
Yeah.
But you can't operate unless you have our wisdom and knowledge, our education. We have everything that God has given us from birth.
That's right.
And that's why when I read that piece, authenticity, you have to know who you are, where you come from.
Yeah.
Stop that begging. When the United States bombed Japan, they didn't say, well, we want, no, the United States gave them. When Israel had this, they gave them. They gave the Philippines, Vietnam, they gave them.
Right.
And yet we labor like there was no tomorrow. Been through all kind of hell and back, 3 times over, but we were saved by a higher power, saved by grace. And our ancestors, with all that they've been through,
Yeah.
they made it today where we are today, and we sitting back like we talking about we free. Free from what?
Yeah.
Free from what?
That's a
You
good point.
only spending money on what they give you privilege to do, when in fact it's your stuff. One of the most important things, what we talk about, what you said, and I say this, you see, the system knew what they were doing when they took manufacturing away. But manufacturing came from us when we had nothing. The Native Indians was manufacturing long before the colonizer even thought about what manufacturing was. They took from us because we had something they never saw, knew, or understood. We have everything today. And see here, 1 point close to $3 trillion a year, unimaginable.
Right.
You can break, if even just in 1 year, if everybody just stopped for 1 year, you'll send this country into such a shock, it's a point of no return.
Right.
Exactly.
It will create such an aneurysm between them
And that's what they know, and that's what they're
tsunami
afraid
and
of.
everything else.
Yeah, they know that, and that's why
Think
they're
about
trying to
it.
get money from
And-
all the oil and everything else.
And that's why they do it.
That's why they do it.
They do it,
That's
and
the point.
because we're the ones feeding the foolishness.
Yeah. Well, we are only doing that, and that's a great point you're making. I like people to make points like that, so I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
bring my little point in.
Yeah.
My podcast is called Unapologetic Amateur, looking for experts in Africanism.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm specific, intentional when I say that, because we forget that we went through things 200. Well, first of all, we have to either believe our history or not.
Yeah.
If
I
you look at
understand.
our history and we say we build the pyramids, we created medicine,
Yeah.
we were the greatest scientists, we this, we that. Now, if you believe that,
Mhm,
then
mhm.
you got to sit back and say, well, then we've been on here a little over 400 years that changed all that.
That's right.
So
that's
what
right.
happened?
That's right. That's
You
right.
know, be
Yeah,
careful.
yeah, yeah.
What something must have happened.
Right.
That's why in my last book, Why Shouldn't I Cry, I use these 2 words, and we need to totally change our. We need to recapture our vocabulary too, our original.
Yeah.
Because when we look at the word excuse and explanation, we should never, as African people, use excuse on any level.
Okay.
Excuse is for people who have been born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and they had no reason not to do whatever they needed to do. You know,
Yes,
so when
yes,
you got someone
I
in
hear
the
you.
White House as crazy as that man, that means that they can go from dirt to up to the White House.
Yes, yes,
Our
yes.
best people,
Mhm.
Barack Obama was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
smartest man in the world. He could barely get to the White House.
That's right.
So we have to look at it that way. So there's an excuse.
Mhm.
Ours is an explanation.
That's
So when our
beautiful point,
people are
beautiful
not
point, yeah.
doing what we know that DNA they could should be doing,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
there must be a reason. Then we should take it to that level.
Mhm.
And my book came out, Why Shouldn't I Cry,
Mhm,
came
mhm.
out around the time of the pandemic.
Yeah, I
which
remember that.
I think God had planned it that way.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
He
yeah.
because it gave me a great way to make that as an analogy of what I'm talking about when I say African slave virus. I coined the phrase
Yeah,
African slave virus 401,
Mhm,
meaning that we have to see our situation as a virus.
mhm,
When that virus came in,
mhm.
it just totally
It's just right.
stunned everybody. No
That's
one
right.
knew.
Yeah.
There was nothing to compare it to.
Mhm,
You
mhm.
know, we had viruses, we had the flu, we had
Mhm, mhm.
COVID.
Yeah, we all
But
have.
this was something so uniquely different. I mean, it killed more people in 2 years than we had ever
Yeah,
dreamed
that
of.
was. Wow.
And it just maimed people and did all kinds of crazy things to it. But it was a virus. It was a virus, but it was called pandemic. When we have to think in terms of what we went through for 200 years, when they stole us from our homeland,
Yeah, yeah.
brought us across the water,
Mhm.
and boats that we were packed like sardines.
Yes, yes.
Once we got here, they hoisted us on slave blocks,
Of course.
sold
Yeah,
us to the highest bidder.
Mhm.
You know, after that, they treated us so inhumanely, and they raped, they lynched,
right,
they
yeah.
all kinds of things that you hadn't even ever read about
Yes.
that happened to human beings.
Mhm.
On top of that, I just realized, I don't know how I missed that, as most people know,
Mhm.
that they were cannibalists. They
Yeah, yeah. That's what it
cannibalized
comes
us.
down to. Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's
they
what
did
were.
things to us that there has never, if you read any history of any people, earthly, celestial, or otherwise,
Unspeakable.
unspeakable.
Unspeakable
So
acts.
then that should tell us, as I appreciate the Jewish people for this, they use that word Holocaust and close to their vest. They don't allow anyone else to use it. They get offended
Yeah, they do.
when
They
other
do.
folks try to compare what they went through. What we went through was so seriously different from what anyone else has gone through that we read about and what we didn't read about. That we should certainly change the word. Otherwise, we confuse ourselves and our kids. Because I've heard lately, I've heard someone say, well, we enslaved each other. Well,
Yeah, I heard that.
they're right. Slavery been around since time immemorial. Slavery was around in the Bible.
That's right.
But what we went through for 200 years apparently then need to be redefined because it wasn't slavery.
No,
Then it wasn't slavery because it's not compared to any other stuff that went on in our lives. So once we take ourselves as serious, other folks then will take us serious. And what that requires is the same as I say that virus. You didn't just go jump and get anybody off the street. As a matter of fact, if you remember, the president of the United States, who's supposed to be the most powerful man in the entire world, what did he tell us to do? Inject with bleach. So we knew he wasn't the one to go to.
Well, yeah, he was
But
definitely
we
not.
would go to anybody to define us and what we should be treated like a cancer. If you would get an oncologist to look at a cancer, we should be treated like a heart disease. You will get a cardiologist
That's
to
right,
go
that's
in on
right,
it.
that's right.
But we just bring anybody in. We bring Clarence Thomas in to talk about it. We bring Kanye West. We bring Candace Owen. We bring anybody.
Anybody, yeah.
Anybody who got any voice, we just allowed them to speak for us. If we stopped it right here and said, oh, no, you cannot speak for, we need the doctor, the Joy DeGraw of the world, post-traumatic slave syndrome.
That's right.
We need the Francis Chris Wilsons of the world, you know, the Wilson paper. We need the Dr. John Henry Clarks of the world. We need this, we need that. Then we need psychologists
Yes, yes.
to help us figure out what happened, how it happened, what it did to us. We need the faith-based people
Mhm.
because we are very
We are,
faith-oriented
yeah,
people.
we are,
We
yes.
believe in our God.
We do.
So we need those three type people to
Mhm.
get together,
Mhm.
as with the oncologists, to
Mhm.
study this particular thing
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
happened to us, and then we can start answering questions.
Yeah. Now I know
You
you
know-
have this book here.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have this book here, but I also noticed you have other books as well. And I see you have some of those books with you. Could you share some of those?
Well, yeah, I brought two of them.
Okay.
I
And then we'll
think
get
you
right back to
mentioned
you.
before that I have written 5 books.
Okay.
My first book actually was Verbal Healing.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the name was We Must Reject Tired, Trite, Tasteless, and Other Nonsensical Expressions to Keep Us Damaged. But you can see how long and lengthy that
Well,
title
yeah, that
was.
was kind of
At
unwieldy.
the time, I was on TV and radio and places like that. By the time I finished my title, my time was pretty much up. So I changed the title to Verbal Healing, which means the same thing. You know, it's what we talk about, how we say things, and we don't know. We didn't create the narrative.
That's right.
You know, people have already assigned us places and people and what we are and what we are not.
Of course.
My second book was Victims of Confusion, which is sort of self-explanatory. That we are. We're victims of confusion. As Malcolm X would say, we've been bamboozled.
That's right. That's
So we have to admit that, know that.
Mhm.
Of course, no fault of our own.
Yeah.
But if you're under a gun for 200 years, being told one thing, can't read, or cannot be, or not allowed to read,
Yeah.
then you're a victim
Okay.
of that confusion.
Yeah.
Now, my third book, and I don't write fiction, I just wrote one fiction, and that third book was The Quarters.
Okay.
It was, I call it a reality fiction because it was based
like
on,
that.
I came from a little small country town
Mhm.
where there was the quarters outside of where, I guess when you came out of slavery or whatever, you came to a place and the place became the quarters.
Okay.
My dad was so conscious and of that kind of living, and there was a lot of good people in the quarters now.
Of course.
It's just that there was a lot of other stuff going on, sort of a Peyton Place type of
Yeah.
thing. But my dad, he loved the quarters, but he didn't want his family in the quarters. So he had the house on there. He would always sort of sharecropping, but he would always get the house on the hill, and we was always sort of overlooking the quarter.
Okay.
And so I write about those people in the quarters and the things that created our environment and how we maintain in spite of.
Okay.
How there were those good peoples in the quarters, but there were people who did a whole lot of other
Yeah,
stuff.
of course. Yeah.
You know. And then the fourth book was Emotions to Live With.
Okay.
And that came out of my experience as a child. I remember as a youngster in Lake Butler, we go to this church. You know, parents back then, you had you in church every day, all
Of course.
day.
Yeah.
And as children, we would fight, you know, carry on. And the reverend at that time, very good guy, he would always trying to direct us and make sure we weren't doing wrong and all that kind of stuff.
That's right. Right.
So he would always chastise us and tell us about don't hate, you know, don't be jealous, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But after that, I would go in and sit under his services, and I hear him say, God hates sin,
Ooh.
and God is a jealous God. That was contradictory
Yeah,
to
yeah,
my little
yeah,
mind. I'm
of
saying, well,
course.
if you're telling us not to hate,
Mhm.
and you say God hates sin, something is wrong with that picture.
Yeah.
So that was years later when I became adult and wrote the book.
Okay.
That's where that came from. I want to explain to people that we all do have emotions.
Yeah, we do.
All kinds of
that's
emotions.
right. Yeah.
We have the good, the bad, and the ugly emotion.
Yeah.
But my subtitle to that book is Let Go, Let God. Meaning that if you can't control it yourself, and some of the emotion we can't control,
That's right.
we turn it over to God and let God take care of the
Yeah,
emotion.
Yeah.
Now, my last book was Why Shouldn't I Cry?
Yeah.
Ode to the Black Man.
Yes, yeah.
Well, one of my aim was to recognize our black men. Our black men need some kind of recognition other than what we've been getting.
No doubt about it.
So that was Ode to the Black Man. I did a lot of, trying to lift them up in a way. But Why Shouldn't I Cry came from the point that if we notice now, we got all kinds of holidays going on, or all kind of things that we reminisce of time, 9/11,
Yeah. Yeah.
or other holidays.
Yes. Yes.
And we cry, and naturally, and that's only natural, and as it should be, because those are things that hurt us, our loved one gone. But what about us? There's nothing happened worse than what we went through.
That's true.
Why shouldn't we cry?
Why shouldn't we?
But you know, it was against the law for any of us, but particularly our black men. One of the reasons you find a lot of our black men have a problem with even showing emotion. And I wonder why. Because they were not allowed to show emotion. They could see their wives being raped. They could see their mom the babies being snatched out of the belly. They could see their dad being hanged at the tree. They could see whatever they saw. They could have no emotion behind it. So the question is, why shouldn't I cry?
Why shouldn't? Yeah. And then you have this book.
Oh, then I have the the last one.
And Ron, you want to come in?
Yeah, a couple of things to go back a little bit because, again, even with your podcast, and I stand on that too, because the platform represents what so many, in my opinion, is failing to do. And just to name a couple, Dr. Umar, if I pronounce it, Johnson talks about that. He's a professional in his
videos.
You know, with him, and he tried to educate us with what's happening, what we need to do, what we should be doing. Then I also listened to Maury Muhammad. Okay, he also talks about it. Farrakhan, Dr. King. We can go back, Malcolm X. So there's nothing new under the sun. The bottom line is that's what's old is the fact that you allow the sun go down and the moon won't rise. Because it's like, why should we rise to guide you at night? And the fact is, you sleep and you won't even get up out of your bed. You find every excuse to do something which is nothing and get mad at the man who's taking from you what you already had. We have it. We have doctors, nurses, we have every single tool that God has created. And that's why in the piece I said authenticity. We are authentic. God has created. He gave us everything we need. The bottom line is, see, we dismantle ourselves because we allowed the dark intruders to come in and ravage your own space. How is it our ancestors was able to do it under condition? And I said all the time, you and I can begin to imagine what it's like to be whipped and get out of the cornfield or raped or whatever the case may be. So, and yet, 90 to 95%, if not higher, we became writers, inventors, poets, singers, activists, you name it. Look at your history.
Well, you know what, Ron? Although we were beaten and stripped, we were less removed from who we were than we are now. See, although we had gone through some tremendous things, we had in us who we really were coming out of Africa. That waned over time when they started doing what they did with our brain. And I said, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. If you compare us to that virus, if when that virus came in and ravaged all our people all over indiscriminately, if had it not been for the experts in that area, you know, there would have been a lot more death. A lot more results of that virus lingering, you know. So think about it. Anytime we look at our people and want to say, well, why aren't they doing this, that, the other? Think about it as a virus. Say that we have never been tended to. We have never really been diagnosed.
That's right.
We've been talked about.
Yes.
We've been, and even with the experts like Dr. DeGraw, she did what she was supposed to do. She went in and studied it.
She documented
but it's
it.
a little bit more to study. You couldn't just study that virus and left it there. You had to study that virus. You had to come up with a cure. You had to come up with that vaccine. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
You had to come up with things to counter that. So until my fifth book was supposed to be Damaged Goods Made in America, and I put it aside to do my last book. What it means is that, make no bones about it, we are damaged goods. You know, and many of us kind of survived to a level that we can move. But many of us was just so damaged that we get in the way of ourselves. And had it not been for the experts around that pandemic, that virus, I tell you, the 2 million that died within a short period of time, it would have been 20 million and more. But there were those who was prepared. They didn't go around asking anyone else except people who had studied the virus to come up with solutions, come up with something that could help us get over. No one has ever decided that we needed to be tended to like that. You know, that we supposed to do it all. We're great now.
No, what,
We great, but we are infallible. We it's not that we are that we can't be hurt. And we were deeply hurt. We were deeply traumatized, and we still and like people begin to. I know some of the younger folks. So I was in a conversation recently, and one of my little young Jeffrey, he said, "Well, I understand, Aunt Ruby. I understand where you come because see that history. You know that I said no." That ain't just history. That's ongoing.
That's right.
That's intergenerational. What we went through, what our ancestors went through in slavery, it's still going on. It had never been tended to, never been treated, never really been particularly diagnosed, but been diagnosed by folks like Dr. Jewell, but it's never been a solution to what ails.
Well, that's why your program is so important. And what I want to do before we get out of here, state the name of your program, and when can they watch it over this network?
Okay, thank you. My podcast it comes on every Monday from 4 to 5 on the regular places that you watch, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, BKS One Radio. And the name of the podcast is Unapologetic Amateur. I'm the amateur looking for experts in Africanism. Now, when I started initially, the title was, and I talked with Brother Larry Ham the other day, and
you did?
and he was telling him that I was including myself in the organizations that he's trying to put together for the Martin Luther King celebration.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
And he said, "Well, Sister Ruby, you added something to your podcast."
That's right,
yeah, I added in Africanism because I have to be more definitive because a lot of folks don't realize when I use the word expert, they assume I mean any expert. No, I don't mean any expert in a specific area. If I were to tell you that I had a heart condition, you wouldn't tell me to go to an oncologist.
No, you wouldn't.
You would say go to a cardiologist. Well, our condition requires that you go to a person who know their stuff in Africanism, who have studied that.
No, like you said, you got to go to the experts.
Right.
So, Ron, you got to take us out of here, bro.
Yes.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I lost who I was. But anyway, let me do this very quick. You know, one of the most important things, listen to the voices of the shadow winds blow, poetically speaking. Black voice. Arise to the black voice, the power of one, near and far, echoing and chilling of lyrics spreading across the landscape, clinging to the souls of the past without missing a beat. A repertoire of hidden pain rising without apology for self-determination. We stand firm as one, mighty people, warriors of thee. Voices like the sounding trumpets circling the globe, like Joshua bringing down the walls of Jericho. The power movement rise from the legacy of the soul, with silent whispers seep through the shadowed winds, as the pain bleeds and cries for souls to be released from the shackles hand, bound without permission. Curtis Mayfield delivers a powerful message. We people who are darker than blue. What has changed between then and now? From the darkness into the marvelous light, nurtured as rebirth, the power within. New songs are rising, higher than a new day will begin. Across the plains of time, many will sing as one body, one soul, one state of endless boldness on a journey toward the promised land. An exodus will not stop until we all reach home, the land where we were born in. The countless thoughts of words forming into the art of poetry, bringing to life the hidden treasures lost inside the heart. A wretched cry, bleeding from the painful tears, smiles hides the burden of a yoke, anchored along with the movement to surrender of a forgotten current, slowly drifting away beneath the forgotten light. Encountering the dark ages of the past, the soul of blackness has circled the globe long before the rise of the colonizers' abusers and the hand of injustice have awakened. From the chamber of hollow darkness, deep in the pit of an endless hole, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's voice has risen from the past. Women warriors today, for the rivers running into a ocean roar, rising beyond to a tumultuous rage over the colonized landscape against the black voice. Today is a day to reign over the shadow of the wretched lasers embedded in the mind. Let's not forget how far we have come, despite conditions unimaginable to the naked eye of pain. With that, my brothers and sisters, again, thank you.
Okay, very quickly. I want you all to look for this book. You know, you're going to have a bestseller right here. Okay, so go to any review, wherever you get your book, particularly Barnes & Noble, and in Amazon, and right now, so go with your speed. You can be updated. It's really get one of these books. Thank you.
Yes, please. Again, look for the book signings. Look for the other programs that we'll be doing.
My book signing, can I say? I have a book signing January 24th at the Performing Arts Center in Frankfort, New Jersey. I want to see you all there.